Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Memes of the Week. The best thing you can do for this channel is smash the like button the way that female high school teachers smash their students, so this video reaches a wider audience. And now on with the memes. Number 1, this influencer who married herself now announces a divorce after her relationship with herself became just too exhausting. I guess even she couldn't stand herself. Women will do or say anything they can to get more attention. Makes me wonder who's going to pay alimony to her. How are women going to top stories like this in coming years to get attention? This sort of behavior would go away immediately if we reopen the asylums and put women like this in them. Up next, many people have said that the Hawk 2 girl had the best 15 minutes of fame ever. She got famous for a dumb joke, started a successful podcast, scammed everyone for their money, and was never to be seen again. That's actually a big lie, because recently she was streaming and there were only 8 people watching her. I guess she's got to do something now that all her magic internet money went down 85%. Now she can't even get a regular job anymore because people know who she is. She Matt Jarboed herself. Number 3, here's Jamie Lee Curtis in the 90s and True Lies as well as now. Apparently many of her fans think she looks hotter. Yeah, no one really believes that. The only fan that might think that is her trans daughter. She wasn't hot in True Lies either. Notice that even her sexy scene back then was shot in a dark room. Now she just looks like a dried-up liberal Nepo granny. Her mother was Janet Leigh, the woman that screamed in the shower in the film Psycho. Moving on, this man is pissed after the Royal Mail offered him £750 after losing his $10,000 gold bar in the mail. Who really believes that it's lost? Only morons. The payment processing was done by Indians as well as the transport. And we just know that the Jeets love their gold. He should have paid extra insurance for shipping. I guess this boomer's not happy living in a low-trust society that his generation voted for. Number 5, researchers say that corn featuring violence against women is more popular with women than men. Of course, we've known this forever. Why are people still paying to do research about this fact? Maybe women like everything they say they hate. Remember guys, never listen to what she says and only observe carefully what she does instead. This meme has been going around lately and it shows the difference between women's and men's romance. Up next, here's a new business idea that just dropped. This guy will charge $300 an hour to pose as a couples therapist to convince your loved one that they're wrong about everything. It's not the greatest of business ideas if you're a guy, because a woman will never take accountability no matter what some neckbeard says to her. This will only work if a woman hires him and he gaslights her man. To be honest though, this guy looks more accomplished than the actual couples therapists out there. Number 7, here's that look that women give you when they try and show you their face and behind at the same time. Usually they're sitting on a sink facing a mirror. They also seem to pose these days in yoga pants while displaying their chronic cameltosis. At this point, those are the only things they can offer men. The only thing missing in this picture is a little black stallion foal in the background named Jaden, and he likes carrots in case anyone is wondering. Moving on, searches for a second job have reached an all-time new high. And people are saying there's a 34% chance of recession by 2026. I think we're already in one if you're in the lower 60 to 70% of the population, and higher-ups will be there too shortly as the markets crumble. I suspect that AI bubble is bursting if it hasn't already by the time I release this. How many companies justify spending $1 trillion to make $20 billion? Number 9, here's the absolute state of India. An Indian woman survives a grape and then the men responsible get charged and go to court. She travels to the court hearing and the lawyer defending the grape gang grapes her again. I guess this is what they call a Hindu love story these days. And yet Canadian women are perfectly fine bringing over as many creepy Indian men into Canada as humanly possible. And they keep voting the party that keeps bringing them in. Up next is In My Imagination, or did Lewis age better than RoboCop? And before you say that she's younger, remember that Nancy Allen is only 3 years younger than Peter Weller. She doesn't look all that bad for 75. She looks like she took good care of herself and didn't get any plastic surgery. Apparently Weller is a douche canoe and he got his doctorate in art history. And he insists on being called Dr. Weller. Got it, Dr. Robocop. Number 11, here's the global population distribution illustrated in 2 circles. I still think that China is lying about its population. What worries me is that back in the 70s and 80s, East Asians came to the West, which is fine because most of them assimilated. Now we have Indians coming in and not so much fitting in. What happens when the next wave from Africa starts to come in? I guess at that point, you'd be safer living in South Africa. Moving on, according to scientists, Kelly Brook is considered to have the most ideal body proportions. For me, yes, but based on the photo on the left, she looks like a bit of a butterface. Actually, I stand corrected after seeing this picture of her. I also wonder if the scientist saying that she's got the ideal body proportions mean that that's based on the way that she used to look and not the way she looks today, when she makes Sydney Sweeney look like a B cup. Number 13, here's the way you see women before and after taking the red pill and going your own way. It's a conclusion that most men reach, but it just takes longer for some than others. The saddest part is they all have identical personalities like NPCs. At least when we build lumberbots, they'll be programmed to be different on the inside. Probably different on the outside as well because dolls won't have tattoos, nose rings, smell bad, and give you attitude. The future will be filled with fake females, more real than the real ones. Up next looks like universal basic income is coming. But who decides what amount is a livable income? Probably just enough to live in a pod while eating bugs. I've said many times now that you have to become a multi-millionaire as quickly as possible if you're going to want to live a normal lifestyle in the future that's considered basic or middle class today. This is Canada setting up a framework for UBI. Not to mention I think that Social Security will go bust and be folded into UBI. Number 15, imagine working in obscurity your whole life until you get one big interview and then you become famous for this facial expression. You're going to be memed forever as a loser. Here's that snooty look, and she looks like a live-action character in a Scooby-Doo movie. If a septum ring was a facial expression, then this would be it. I'm looking forward to her next interview to see how she embarrasses herself. Moving on, here's Hoflation Manifest. If you want to date her, she expects you to pay her rent, $225 hairdo, and even giving her $700 allowances. Once you see this enough, you start doing what I do. Going to the Canadian version of Backpage called Leo List, and finding women that charge $300 per hour. 2 visits a week with an actual hoe would still be only half the price of paying for a wayman like this. And you can also get variety as well. Number 17, do you agree that women that falsely accuse men should be required to be registered as sex offenders? Absolutely, but only after being released from jail. We can dream about this all we want, but it's never going to happen. I've always learned that it's a waste of time fantasizing and fighting for things that will never change. For a decade, I saw the men's rights movement fight, and it never got them anywhere, and was like banging their collective heads against a wall. Up next, this individual says that they're going to seduce mega husbands and break up marriages. Sure you will, dude. You know you won't. But I bet you're just hoping that women married to conservative men are going to try and get them to give up their beliefs for fear of losing their husbands to you. Those women are not scared. They're laughing at you. Why does this guy give me the Penguin vibes from Batman Returns? Number 19, here's Monaco's economy in one picture. Actually, this is just status-seeking behavior. Most of the yachts look exactly the same, and it shows you just how insecure most wealthy people are. They have all the money, yet they're still afraid to express themselves and buy similar yachts. Humans are herd animals more than anything. If I had to bring a boat there, it would be a luxury tugboat conversion, and they would throw me out of the harbor for making waves, both literally and figuratively. Moving on, why is it that over a third of the alphabet people out there believe that they won't live past the age of 35? Because they have higher rates of mental illness, and up to 40% of them want to self-delete for some reason. Their life expectancy was probably higher during the HIV boom of the 1980s. Maybe it's the monkeypox doing its things these days as well. Who knows? Also, their lifestyles are about youth and sex, and those things disappear with time. And they don't build families and identities outside of that. Number 21, should we bring back the 1970s conversation pits? Sure, they're great in cyberpunk games, but there's no point in a world where everyone won't have conversations anymore. But instead they stare at their phones instead. I can also smell this picture. It smells like cigarettes and mothballs. Also, the people who thought they were used for conversations were idiots, because everyone knows they were used for orgies. It was the 1970s swing culture, baby. Up next, Lauren says that the gayest thing a man can do is idolize another man. Do you think that's true? I think it's true that when a man is fully mature, he shouldn't idolize anyone. But while he's growing up, it's important to have role models and mentors. Women don't understand this. That's why so many boys being raised by single mothers are lost. Maybe instead of meddling in men's business, women can learn to stop idolizing Taylor Swift first. Number 23, recently, there were falling iguanas in Florida. It got too cold and they were falling out of the trees, immobilized, but not dead. And yet people are complaining about global warming and climate change. Meanwhile, this graphic shows us how Florida has been colder this year than at any point since they started keeping records in the 19th century. The falling iguana sounds like a great name for a band or a bar. Once again, global warming is brutal. Moving on, name one TV show that left you like this after it ended. Game of Thrones and not in a good way. I hate the showrunners that do a bait and switch. They make a great show and then they get lazy towards the end. Other shows that ended in a bittersweet way were Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, as well as the remake of Battlestar Galactica. The show that left me satisfied the most when it ended was Star Trek The Next Generation. It left me hopeful about the future. Number 25 on the last one, fake-up should be illegal. Imagine sleeping with the woman on the right and then waking up to the massive forehead ugly in the morning. The makeup isn't that bad though. It's the forehead. She just needs to get some bangs to cover it up. Or maybe just put a wig on. Also, the after picture isn't the greatest. The makeup artist needs to be fired. I'm sure she just did it herself, so she needs to take some lessons. So that's it for another Memes of the Week. Please give this video a like to push it up in the algorithm, and so new viewers can find it. If you enjoy this series and want me to keep making it, then donate at the PayPal Subscribe Star links below. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day, and cheers.